Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Allison if you're new here, and this is part 2 of our nursery makeover. Part 1 is already out. It's mostly my husband prepping the space for where we are today. It's getting new drywall up, it's rewiring the space, it's cleaning it, mudding, taping, sanding, taking out all of like the old crown molding and baseboards. We found a family of dead mice in the walls. That's all in that video if you want to catch up to where we are now. But part 2 is now mostly me working in there, if you guys missed my beautiful face in last week's video. It's paint, it's refinishing dressers, it's decorating, making it girly and sweet and cute. So all of that's in this video. First thing we're doing is hopping into painting and priming. That's kind of where I left you off on part 1, is starting to prime this room. All of the new drywall in here needs a coat of primer because it's never been painted before. So I'm gonna go around and do that with my trusty Kills primer.
Thinking about what we've been through. The world can be a lonely place. Baby, I'm so glad that I found you. Now I got someone.
Then I'm going in with Behr paint in the color Retro Pink. I love this color in this space. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera. It really changes based off the lighting, and a lot of the work we did in this room was like after dark, so there's not natural lighting in some of the shots. So like some shots look super orange, some shots just don't look like the accurate color, but like I think you get a general idea of the color. It's really pretty. I love that we went with this color in here. We really leaned into the pink in this room because it is a little girl's nursery, and I wanted this room to feel really like romantic and girly. And my older daughter Madeline, her room will be next, and that's going to be more whimsical and fun and youthful. But I wanted this one to feel like a little bit like Regency era, like a little bit Bridgerton. There's definitely a Bridgerton rug for Ruggable later on in this video. But lots of pink in this room, lots of girly vibes.
From the day you stole my heart, I never ever want to be apart. Don't you feel the times are coming? 'Cause I feel it so strong. I've been on hold now.
Now for the ceiling, we only had to redo about half of the drywall on the ceiling, so we didn't want to like prime and paint and all of that stuff for the whole thing. So I primed half of it, but then realized we don't know the original ceiling paint color in here. So I actually painted the entire ceiling just for it all to match and be seamless, and I went with the color Whipped Cream by Behr Paint. We sadly then realized the texture of the new drywall did not match the texture of the old drywall, and so Christian, after I did like 3 coats of paint, like it was a whole process, after all of that, he went in with the texture spray. He like taped off the walls to protect it, and went in with the texture spray and then knocked it down. I think it's like an actual technique called knockdown texture, where you take a paper towel and kind of dab at, or like swat at the texture on the ceiling while it's still a little bit wet, and it makes it a little less, like it makes it more subtle, and that really helped it blend into the rest of the ceiling. So that dried overnight, and then I went in with another coat of paint to finish off the ceiling. With the ceiling done though, we could finally install the light fixture, and I don't love this light fixture. I picked it out, it's my own fault. I was trying to be like affordable. It's from Target, it's cute, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as special as I want in this space. I also did not love it enough to grab a great after shot of the light fixture, so you'll have to kind of pay attention in the after shots at the end of this video to really truly see it. But I'm already thinking of replacing it, but don't tell Christian that because he would be not happy with me. Then I pre-painted all of the baseboards. We thought it'd be less stressful than trying to keep paint off the ground like after they're already installed. Yes, we'll have to go and do like touch-up paint on them because of like caulking and then nailing them in, but that seemed way easier to manage than like having to paint the whole thing while it's attached to the wall.
Don't you feel the times are coming when it feels so right to dance in the moonlight, baby, with you? Sometimes we all struggle, but when the sun hits my face, I think of you and all my troubles are gone without a trace.
Also should mention that I used the same retro pink on all of the trim in the room, but the baseboards, the door trim, and the crown molding I did in a satin finish, whereas the wall and all of the wall molding that you'll see later on is in an eggshell finish.
You, I know our love will see us through. Don't you feel the times are coming? 'Cause I feel it so strong. I've been on hold now, baby.
it was time to finally map out all of the molding. Like I said, I wanted kind of a Regency feel in this room, very detail oriented. Like I could have gone way harder in this. I was gonna do a chair rail, but then nixed that idea. And so we just did box molding over this entire room. I think it was like 200 feet of molding we had to buy, maybe 300 feet of molding. It was a lot. It was way more molding than we've ever done in like the previous homes that we've done, and I love it in this space. It just took a lot of time to figure out, so I just did some like painter's tape and started just kind of guessing like where I thought it would look good, and then I could kind of really refine my measurements and then finally make a cut list for Christian and like label all the boxes for him. You'll catch a piece of paper taped to the wall in these clips, and that's like my master cut list on like what length, like for all of the molding in all of the rooms. I've also had some questions asked about like how do I do the spacing for the molding? How do I figure out my measurements? There are websites you can use that'll do the math for you, but in a room like this where there's like doors and windows and you're doing every single wall, and like the crib wall, I want it to be the molding to be the size of the crib. Like I wanted it very custom and not necessarily uniform on every single wall. I just kind of eyeball it. I put tape up. I'm not afraid to readjust it and like change it, and it's just, you just have to like kind of figure it out. Like you just trial and error with some tape. But the only thing to note is the most important measurement that I think is to keep the distance of the moldings from the corners the same. So if you have molding on two walls where they meet in a corner, you want to make sure the molding starts the same distance off the corner. So if you have one molding starting 5 inches off of the corner on one wall, you want to make sure it's 5 inches off on the other wall too. If you start messing with those and do like 5 inches on one wall and 7 inches off the other wall, that's when it becomes really noticeable and looks more DIY than like professionally finished. But once Christian had finally figured out all my cuts and done all of those, he went in with liquid nails and a brad nailer and put all of that up for me. He also used a laser level to make it super clean and crisp, and miraculously we were able to avoid all of the outlets we had put into this room. We didn't have to like cut around any of them. I figured out the measurements just to make that just so that was a big win. And then after all of that is put up, he's gonna go in and do wood filler on all of the nail holes. Sometimes he had to like nail them farther in to like hide them and make them smooth. And then he put wood filler on all the joints on the corners of the molding and then caulked all of the edges. This process took him a full day, and he did 2 coats, so it was 2 full days of just finishing the molding. So if you ever are looking for molding and getting a quote for it to be done and you're like shocked at the price, it is a very time-consuming, detail-oriented process to do like professionally and well done. And this molding took so many hours, but it looks really good. But he's gonna go put all that in, do the finishing touches, and then I'm gonna come in with the same wall color again and paint it to match the walls.
How wonderful life can be. And no matter what's in store, as long as you and me, baby, we can open every door.
Now this is a nursery, and if you know anything about baby sleep, blackout curtains are a must. We ordered custom blinds from blinds.com. We've used them before and love them. You can do so many customizations and they're really reasonably priced. I'll link them down in the description bar and like the exact ones we used here. I wanted something kind of invisible when it was pushed up, but very blackout when it was pulled down, and that's exactly what these are. I also ordered a ruggable rug from the Bridgerton collection. I think this rug is called Lady Whistledown. I love it. It just adds to the pink in the room. It adds to like the romantic feel of it. I love it. I actually loved it so much I forgot to film it on my big camera for YouTube, so here is the reel I shared over on Instagram, opening it and rolling it out. Then we put the crib and the rocking chair in here because baby girl had been in our room up until this point. I think she's 5 months old at this point in the video, and we were ready for her to move into her own space. Little did we know that that meant less sleep for everybody, but we got through that. We're on the other side of it now, but we moved her into this room after this point, now that we had like the paint done, the door in, the blinds in, like we moved her in here at this point. And after we moved her in, we lost a lot of motivation on this project. Like we were kind of pushing through to get her in this room, and now that she was here, we got distracted. I started working on the kitchen, Christian started doing other work, and we left this room alone for 3 months. We didn't do anything else for 3 months. This is how it looked. Christian then added the crown molding after this 3-month break. I went in and painted it very carefully with that same retro pink color and the satin finish. Now, once we found that motivation, 3 months later, we got started on refinishing the dresser. I had found this on Facebook Marketplace. Christian went over and picked it up for me, and then he started the cleaning up process. It needed some repairs, so we took all the drawers off, the hardware. It had wheels on the bottom of it, but I didn't want those wheels there. I wanted those pulled off. He had to reattach some of the front of the drawers, so he did some wood glue, some clamps, and some wood filler to kind of refinish that look.
Don't you feel the times are coming? 'Cause I feel it so strong. I've been on hold on, baby.
And then I stepped in to sand it down. Christian started sanding it, but it was a frustrating job. This stain would not lift for the life of us. I went in with a 60 grit sandpaper and really worked at it for a long time. And then I went over with a 220 grit sandpaper to smooth it out.
Don't you feel the times are coming? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, don't you feel the times are coming?
And then we covered it in a dark gel stain. The color is Kona. I'll link it down in the description bar, but I just applied that with a cloth, wiped it off after a little bit, and loved the dark finish. We did 2 coats of that, and then we did 2 coats of a polyurethane top coat to really seal it. I love the original hardware. It was just really old and dirty, but I put it all in the sink after Christian disassembled it all and used Barkeeper's Friend and a lot of elbow grease. I probably spent 2 hours cleaning the hardware, but I think it was worth it because it's so pretty clean. Against the dark wood of the dresser, it contrasts so brightly. We also found that all of the pulls were dated, and so the dresser I think was made in 1964, which is only a few years younger than our house. I think our house was built in 1969 or 68, or maybe it was 65. One of those. So it's pretty cool that the dresser is kind of from the same time period that the house was built, so that makes it feel extra special. After reattaching the hardware in our living room one night after the girls had gone to bed, I added this gingham drawer liner. I thought I wanted a wallpaper peel and stick drawer liner, but this is actually really great because it's way easier to work with. It's not permanent in the dresser, it wouldn't be hard to remove this, it just lifts straight out, but the clothes don't shift around in there, it doesn't move around like I thought it would. And it also was nice that it was the perfect size of these drawers, so it was just really easy to put these in. Then we carried the dresser where I thought it would go in the room. That's kind of where I plotted it before we had built this room. I thought dresser goes here, chair goes here, crib goes here. I just didn't like it in this space at all, so we did a little bit of a pivot. I moved the dresser over next to the rocking chair, and it works great there. The only problem is that it kind of messed with all of my artwork plans. So the picture frames I had planned to go above the crib, I was getting nervous about having them hang above the crib, and then the mirror I wanted above the dresser just looked wrong on that wall. So we changed things around. I did the 2 frames from Amazon and the art prints from Etsy above the dresser. I think they are so pretty. The art print is actually from this great artist. She does original artwork and then sells that for way more than I can afford. And then she sells prints of that artwork. So we bought 2 prints from her. It's her Etsy shop. She has like a normal website. I will link it down below. I am in love with these prints. They feel very special and they're like signed by her too, so it feels very cool. So those are above the dresser now. And then the mirror, I don't love where it is. I'm gonna have to rethink this at some point. I actually have an idea for this wall. We just put the mirror back on the wall the dresser was originally going on, and it just feels very empty and incomplete there. I have an idea for that, but I'm ready to move on from this room and this project, and I'm ready to go do Madeline's room now. So we'll come back at some point in time and finish up this part of the room. So I know it looks a little bit weird. We'll come back to it and make it better, but that's just where I stuck the mirror because we have it. It was an empty wall. A bedroom feels incomplete to me without a mirror, so I put that there. Christian then hung up the curtains. Now the curtains, the rods, and the rings that I used are all from Amazon. I love them. It just added to like the romantic feel in the room and definitely like added some needed like texture and breaking up a lot of the pink in there. So huge fan of these curtains. I moved the drawers back into the dresser one morning when it was just me and Daisy awake, and then we added the art prints in, added a few little touches like this jelly cat that's a Daisy. I added her sound machine, her, what's it called, baby monitor. We also put in a new floor lamp. The floor lamp is from Wayfair, and then I upgraded the lampshade with a $20 pleated lampshade from Target. I love that. I also went in later on and added in a cute little scallop lamp from Wayfair also. They're a great place to find things that are like look for less vibes. I think like Serena and Lily makes this lamp for like $200 or $300 and I wasn't paying that. I think the lamp was like $40 if you can find it in stock. But the artwork, all little finishing touches, just pull this room together and add sweet, sweet little details in this space, which is perfect for our sweet little girl. And now I'm calling this room done and wrapped, even though I have a project for that back wall that I want to work on one day. I'm so happy with how this space turned out. It's so perfect for a little girl. It's exactly what I was imagining. Now the furniture layout's not exactly what I pictured in my head, but it all worked out in the end, and I'm just so excited about this space. I'm happy to have another room done. I'm happy to have this be my baby's nursery. It's just a sweet, sweet space, and it feels really special because I put in all of the details and like the molding and all of the, there's just so many little special parts about this video. Thanks for following along. Thanks for enjoying this video, little mini series with me. We are now moving on to Madeline's room next, so that'll be the next video to look forward to. I am so excited. I'm painting in the basement. I'm painting somewhere else in the house. I'm finishing up, covering up all the wood paneling, so stuff is still going on in this house. I took a little like week or 2 long break after we finished this room just to kind of like breathe and enjoy being done with another house project. But I'm already working on the next one. So I will see you guys next time I have something to share. I think I have a video for next week. Probably next week. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.